I think that's a great question, and I believe if it's done correctly, it can absolutely benefit the homeowner as well as in the long run benefit the HVAC company. We're talking about really checking stuff, not just like, yeah, it's working good. We're really checking everything. We're checking the condition of the condenser fins. We're checking for any oil leaks in that condensing unit. We're washing the condensing coil out. We're pulling the leaves out of that condensing unit. We're checking to see if are the wires going to be rubbing into the copper tubing that could cause a leak later. We're looking for any wiring that could be chafed and shorting out later. We're making sure we're cleaning that fan blade. We're checking the fan blade for any hairline cracks. We're checking the motor. We're checking the bearings of the motor. We're checking everything we can about that unit. We're checking the wiring from the condensing unit to the wall, making sure it's the right size. Is it exposed to the sun? Is it going to be attacked by a weed eater? We want to check everything we can, the contactor, capacitor, and so much more. When we go to the inside, we're checking all that same stuff, checking the blow oil, see if it's dirty, pull it and clean it if we need to. Check the condition of that evaporator coil, the condition of the fins. Is it clean? Is it dirty? We're flushing the drain line out. We're also not putting any chemicals that could harm the evaporator, such as bleach. No bleach in the drain line. We're checking the airflow. We're checking the ductwork. We're checking to see if there's any mold buildup in that ductwork. We're checking the filtration, see if there's any air bypass in the filtration. Is there enough return air? We're checking the CO2 levels in the house. We're checking to see if there's any chemical buildup in the house. We're checking the thermostat. We're checking where the wires run through to the cabinet. Are they going to short out anywhere? We're checking so much more stuff. Later, we're going to do a video on how I do my maintenance calls and all the different stuff I check. But I'm also going to leave my customer with a full checklist. Here's how your system is performing. The amps, the volts, everything we checked. We're also including pictures with that so the customer knows how that system is running. We can also use that for a lot of other things, such as we're having a problem with the system. We can look back and see, checking the status of the system when we started having these issues. We can also use that to see when a system is aging. We can start seeing, hey, this system is starting to show signs of aging. We got a lot of corrosion built up now. We end up with the amp draws changing, the compressor changing. It's not working as efficient as it was. So we can start seeing, we should start looking at preparing now for a new system before it becomes an emergency situation. We can also find problems before the emergency. So I want to find these problems in a nice time of year when it's convenient versus the middle of summertime where I don't have time to look at every single thing. We want to check the contacts, the points, check these things before it becomes an issue. Because the customer would much rather have these problems solved when the weather's nice, when they can schedule us in, versus the middle of summer when they have all their guests over and now the system goes down. So it can definitely be beneficial. It can extend the life of the system by doing this maintenance. Customers a lot of times have a hard time changing the filter. So by doing this maintenance, definitely be beneficial. Now for the company, typically the amount of time it takes doing all this work, a lot of times it's not profitable doing maintenance calls. So they kind of try to push through it. But in the long term, it can definitely pay off. Now, my competition may all be going out and be like, yeah, that line feels good. Yeah, pressures are good. Yeah, it feels right. And that's fine. They can run their business however they want. But when my customer sees that versus here's this full entire checklist. Here's everything this person checked. Here is all the stuff that I don't even know what this means. They're checking all this versus this person saying the pressures are good, whatever that means. It's a great comparison. Man, this person's a little bit more expensive, but they're giving me something of value. So it does benefit the homeowner. And that checklist is big too, because in the winter, when things slow down, I can start looking and see which of my customers have a Mercury thermostat. Now I can get a discount buying a whole bunch of thermostats, and I can market directly to my customers that have a Mercury thermostat. Start offering them programmable digital thermostats at a discount. And now I'm doing more service work during the wintertime. Customer gets a discount and some parts and supplies, and I'm marketing directly to the customers that need it instead of marketing to everybody. Because I have a customer and they bought a brand new thermostat just a few months ago. Now they're getting this advertisement for a cheaper thermostat, same exact one for less money. They're going to be wanting some money back. So by marketing directly to my checklist, yeah, it's definitely beneficial to the HVAC company. Now let's look at this, how I ran my company. This is just how I did it. It doesn't mean how it should be ran, but in the summertime, it gets busy. You can't get to every service call. Everybody wants you there right now. They don't even care about the price. When can you get here? I need you here as soon as possible, and you can't get to everybody. You're running as many service calls as you can. When you go and fix that system, you try to look as many things as you can. You try to look at the bigger picture, but ultimately you don't have time to do maintenance. You don't have time to check every single little thing. You check for the big stuff, and then you have to go to the next call. What I do is I put my customers on a maintenance plan. Mr. Jones, when was the last time you had your system serviced? Oh, well, these systems are getting very expensive now and they're getting very complex. They now cost as much as a used car. So let's see what we can do to make sure your system lasts as long as possible so we can extend the life of the system. On top of that, a call like today, we could have found this during a maintenance call and you would have had that repaired at your convenience instead of having to have it happen right now in the middle of summertime. Is that something you're interested in? And they'll say, yeah, maybe, maybe not. The other thing with our maintenance agreement is we also offer a discount to our customers, but more importantly, all of our maintenance agreement customers get priority customer service. So in the middle of summertime, when it's hot and you can't get anybody out here, all of our maintenance agreements, you get priority customer service. And that means a lot to a lot of people. Is that something you're interested in? And they'll say, yeah, it's a pretty good deal. I can't deny that. They sign you up at a maintenance agreement and you go on and take care of your other service calls. Well, eventually summer's going to end. That peak season is going to drop off and you end up with the autumn and the fall and the weather's really nice and nobody's calling for maintenance or service. Well, the problem is if you're a business owner, you guys still got payroll. You still got to pay all of your people. And that's difficult when you don't have calls rolling in. So this is where I start scheduling in all of my maintenance customers. Hey, Mr. Jones, remember we talked to you this summer? We're ready to get your system checked before this winter to make sure we have any problems this winter. So you schedule in your time, you go out, take care of Mr. Jones, and now your service vans are running during the slow time of year. That means advertisement. More companies, more people are seeing your business van, your company name. That's important for that whole image of your community. So you got to Mr. Jones' house, you check everything you possibly can, you do all the maintenance stuff, but now we say, hey, we found the combination gas valve. The gas valve's starting to leak or has a delay. It's not working really well. We give Mr. Jones the option, hey, would you like to go ahead and change this out now while we're here? Will you get that same discount? We can go and take care of this. He says, sure, absolutely. So you get his system up and running, you get it taken care of. Now the first cold spell of winter comes. That first cold spell comes, you don't have time to get to everybody's call, but Mr. Jones is taken care of. His system is not breaking down. It's not failing. So now you have time to take on more customers. So all these new customers, as many of those as you can, you put on a maintenance agreement. Now, springtime comes. The weather's nice. It's not freezing cold. It's not hot. Calls drop down and your business starts to stagnate a little bit. So now I start calling all of my maintenance customers, including Mr. Jones. And we start getting our vans running. Our employees are making money now. They're having income. It may not be making us a lot of money, but we're having income. And we start looking for anything that could go wrong on that system before summertime comes. Mr. Jones, we checked your capacitor and we see that your capacitor is just barely within spec. The capacitors are number one replaced part. We can put in this newer part that has a bigger warranty on it. It's built here in the USA, and that way you don't have to worry about this and the issue, but we could also try to chance it and hope for the best. What would you like us to do? Mr. Jones says, let's go ahead and put that new capacitor in. Now I'm making money on the parts of the capacitor, so instead of me breaking even, I'm actually having a little bit more cash flow coming in, and Mr. Jones now doesn't have to worry about that system going dead in the middle of summertime. And I do that same thing through all of my customers that are on my maintenance agreement. My vans are out running, I have income coming in, it's not hard to make payroll, everybody's happy. Now, in the summertime comes, most of my customers are not going to be calling. They're going to be taken care of. We looked for anything that could go wrong during the slow time of year, and we had time to look for these problems. My employees are not stressed. My technicians have time to do their job and look for everything they can possibly find to make sure it's not going to fail in the middle of summer. So they have time to go through that whole entire system and not be rushed. So now, when the summertime comes, they're not calling for service work because their systems aren't going to be breaking down. There's still going to be one or two that happens, and we can now afford to give them priority customer service. We can afford to give them that discount in the middle of summer. But what it does do is open my technicians up to new customers. So now when that hot spell hits and everybody wants you right then and there, my customers are taken care of. Now I can bring on new customers. And this is how I grew my company. I put those new customers in my maintenance agreements, and now I'm busy all year round. And now I have enough little repairs here and there during my maintenance calls where I'm actually making money on that. And I have plenty of room to take on new customers in the peak of winter and also in the peak of summer. Now, that's just how I did my business. Doesn't mean it's how it has to work. But one of the big advantages to that was when it finally came time for them to replace that system. When it comes time to replace that system, not just looking for whoever the cheapest. They now know me. I see them every 6 months. Hey, Ty, how's it going? How's the kids? They start to know who you are. So now you know the needs of them as well. You know what their indoor air quality needs are. You know how their family needs are, that their son or daughter has asthma. These are things that's going to be important for you to know. Now, when it comes for that new system, you're not going to be the cheapest person, but you can offer them the system, the equipment, the solutions, their indoor air quality issues, the solutions for their comfort issues that nobody else can offer. So you're offering these systems to solve their problems. And yeah, you're not going to be the cheapest person. I never want to be known as the cheapest person. I want to be known as the best or one of the best. And that's the image that you want. So now that customer, instead of just calling through the phone book looking for who has the cheapest price, they now know, hey, this person has quality. You are bringing quality. I trust you because I talk to you all the time every 6 months. And you're not just saying, yeah, it's blowing cold. Yeah, your pressures are good. Like, you're literally giving them a full report. They also are going to expect you to install the highest quality, best installation system that they can get. And that's what's going to be important. The customer wins because they have a quality install. Your company wins because you've made a relationship with that customer. They've kept you busy during the slow time of year. They've made you money in the parts that you've had to repair. And finally, when they get time to replace that system, that's where the most profit's at for most HVAC companies. Now you're making money all the time. And you're even identifying when that system is going to fail. You can start to seeing a trend. Hey, this system is starting to get weaker. We're starting to have these issues. And you can replace that system during the nice time of year. So instead of my technicians having to go up in the attic in the middle of summer when it's 110 outside, it's 150 in the attic, they're doing this in the nice time of year. They're coming out in the morning. They're not sweating to death in that attic. So there's a lot of work that can be done to solve a lot of problems. Everybody wins. And that's what I call a good business. That's just how I ran it. Everybody has their own opinions, but if you're just going out and be like, yeah, we checked it and it's good, not doing the maintenance stuff, then yeah, only the business benefits and the customer loses out. But if you're checking everything, everybody wins. Hope that answers your question. Great question. Have a great one, and see you in the next video.